the first thing I want you also to establish is that you are a kingdom counselor. Listen, I've been saying something in the last few years that that one ministry that will be very needed in the body of Christ as we journey in these end times will be the counseling ministry. I've always been an advocate of the fact that what we do on the pulpit on Sunday is powerful, but we need a set of persons with the spirit of counsel who will be able to drive in that message at a deeper level through counseling. And that is what I've been talking about for years. But I'm really grateful to God that we have the privilege to read Kingdom Counselors on this platform. And please, like I have also said, that nobody becomes one thing we do in church, I think is faulty, is that if we the way we choose counselors in church is by, this woman is old, he has spent 30 years in the church, this man is an elderly man, he has spent 40 years in the church, so he should be in the counseling unit. Listen, I think we should understand that as much as we honor gray hair, we honor the length of time somebody has spent on the earth, but it's not a criteria to be a true counselor. Everybody has the capacity to counsel, but there are people the people in the office of a counselor who are part of a counseling unit or a counseling movement should be trained. The same way you don't have an engineer. Somebody just becomes an engineer because he's 40 years old. They say, you're 40 years old now, you should be an engineer. You are not an engineer. Or, he's 50 years old, you should be a medical doctor now. You are a medical doctor. So the same way, you can't say because somebody is 50 years old in the church, you should be the head of the church counseling team. You become an engineer by training. You become a doctor by training. You become an accountant by training. You become a counselor by training. Somebody type that in the chat room. Counselors are made by training. By trainings. They'll say, okay, I have the gift. Thank you for those people who have the gift of counseling. Yes, some people have the gift. The Bible speaking in Isaiah chapter 11, there's some people who have the spirit of counsel upon them, but you need to be trained for it. The same way a person can say, okay, I have a passion for medicine. I will not say because I have the passion, it's enough, I'm a doctor. Or I have the passion for electrical work. So because I have the passion, now I'm an engineer. No. If you don't do that, when it comes to counseling, you can't do that. You know why I'm speaking about it this passionately is because I believe one of my assignments is to defend this assignment called the counseling ministry. And the first perspective the Lord has burdened my heart with is to make people see that nobody becomes a counselor by default. You become a counselor by training. Now I'll say that again. Nobody becomes a counselor by default. You become a counselor by training. If you say I'm a counselor, I'll say, what training have you been under? What training have you been through? I'm here today speaking to you. I'm on a course right now on this matter. Yeah, I can't just come here and speak to you haphazardly. I must be trained. So I'm on a course right now. As I'm being trained, I'm here to train you too. So that's how it works. You become a counselor not by default, but by training. So, and I'm really grateful to God for the Y.A.P.I platform on that Touch Grass Network International that gives you this privilege. I think you should value it. You should value what you're receiving here. So these first 2 days, we're going to be talking about counseling. Counseling, how is it done? What should you do? What shouldn't you do? What should you know about counseling? That's what we're going to be talking about today and tomorrow. And I think it's important we value what is happening here. The reason why I'm talking about this is because, like Dr. Miles Monroe said, when the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse is inevitable. So you don't get to take this thing lightly. Listen, I had to pay for a course. I have to pay for books. I have to pay for learning platforms to be able to sit down here to teach. And today, I think this meeting is free. And I think you should do it. And we are not just doing it because we're not serious, we don't have what we want to do, we just want to do something. No. We are serious people here. The reason why we are doing this is that we are passionate about our teenagers, we are passionate about our children. And we are saying, okay, how do we help? So we want to raise saviors by the Spirit of the Lord, who will go to schools, go to families, go to churches, and bring light and understanding, and bring solace and succor for these children. And I declare in the name of Jesus, you are one of them. Now, the objective of today's training is, number one, follow me very fast. I'm going to be running. The objective of today's training is this. Number one, to develop the key skills for counseling young people. Developing the key skills for counseling young people. I'll say that again. Developing the key skills for counseling young people. I want to encourage our leader admin. I am sorry I didn't do this. It's out of passion. Please help me celebrate Mary Enekar. She's the acting national coordinator here in Nigeria. Please just help me celebrate her, amazing lady. And Joanne, thank you for all you guys do behind the scene. Thank you for your sacrifices. Thank you for everything you guys do behind the scene. I see it, the people see it, and we believe that God blesses you, and God is blessing you in the name of Jesus. So now, number one objective of this training is developing the key skills for counseling young people, developing the key skills for counseling young people. So you don't just counsel you just see a young boy or a young girl going through stuff, and just say, "Come, make advice you." As much as that is good, it's wonderful, you can do that, but make sure it's important that there are skills required to be able for you to be effective as a counselor. There are skills required for you to be effective as a counselor, and these skills is these core skills will be one of the focus of this training to equip you with these skills. Number one. Number two is to study the key thinkers who contributed to counseling. The formation of this counseling profession. We want to study the key thinkers who contributed to this counseling profession, to the counseling profession. So that's one of the objectives of this training. And number three is learning about the techniques for counseling. Counseling is not by default. There are techniques to it. So we're going to be learning the techniques for counseling. And number five, we're going to be developing a knowledge of different counseling approaches. Developing a knowledge of different counseling approaches. There are different approaches to counseling. You're going to learn this in this training. And the last one is you're going to learn psychological issues and problems faced by children and teenagers. Psychological issues and problems faced by children and teenagers. I'm going to do a rundown right now. Number one, we're going to be talking about the objective of this training. We're going to be talking about developing the key skills for counseling young people. Number two, we're going to study the key thinkers who contributed to the counseling profession. Number three, we're going to learn about the techniques for counseling. Number four, we're going to talk about developing a knowledge of different counseling approaches. And number five, we're going to be talking about the psychological issues and problems faced by children and teenagers. These are the core objectives of tonight's training, of this whole training. We're going to start today. We're going to continue tomorrow. So let's talk about what is counseling. What is counseling? What is counseling to you? Okay, Praise says counseling is a form of guidance to help people manage themselves and their emotions. Amazing, Praise. Can we just give a round of applause for Praise? Mary said counseling is providing guidance and support for someone working through something. Thank you. Samuel says counseling for me is being a hand that leads the way when it's cloudy. Whoa, that's a deep one. And Jane says counseling is giving the right words to someone in need of comfort. Whoa, I'm speaking to very, very, very intelligent and well-researched people, and I love it. That's beautiful. So I'm going to give you a definition to add to all these beautiful definitions we've received already. And this definition is from the National Health Service, according to 2016. They called counseling. They said counseling is a type. Now take note. Want to go now? Take note of this. Counseling is a type of talking therapy that allows a person to talk about their problems and feelings in a confidential and dependable environment. One thing I see about this definition, that counseling is more about the counselee speaking than the counselor speaking. I'd like to say that counseling is more about the counselee, the person being counseled, speaking, than the counselor speaking. Because most times when people say, okay, I'm having a counseling session, is the counselor that is speaking. Hey, you have to do this. Oh, you have to do that. You have to do this. No. But real counseling is not just about the counselor speaking. Real counseling is fundamentally about the counselee speaking to the counselor, because the process in which the counselee is speaking to the counselor is therapeutic. That's why you see here that I say he's talking therapy. He's talking therapy. And this brings me to the part I think counselors must understand they should be more of a facilitator of a discussion when they're in the counseling session. I want to say that again. A counselor must understand that during a counseling session, he must be more of a facilitator for a discussion than being the one talking. His role is to facilitate a discussion, to ask key questions that get the counselee to talk. Because counseling cannot truly take place until the counselee pours out their heart. Until they talk to you, whatever you do won't work. So the strength of counseling, is the counselee speaking to the counselor, opening their heart, because that even gives you the understanding of what they are going through. You know, let me tell you something, because this class is this first session is on about raising counselors. This is the one thing I've observed is that most times when people when counselees are speaking to their counselors have a lot of counselors have this impatience. They're just waiting for you to finish so that they can give you their rema or give you the ideas in their head. Sometimes they won't cut the counselee, the process at which the counselees, the process in which the counselee is speaking to them. They just cut them off and just start giving advice. You know, please, as a counselor, you must work on your emotions. You must be calm. You must work on your emotions too, and you must master the art of listening. Don't come in and say, oh, because you feel, okay, I know where he's going, I know where she's going. You must work on your emotions. You must be calm enough to listen to them. Even if you think, oh, I know where she's going to, be quiet and listen. Because it's not about having an information from them alone, which is key, because you cannot help a person. You can't treat a patient that you're not aware of the problem he or she is going through. But more so is you must understand that the process in which they speak to you is therapeutic, is helping them unburden. So it's important that as a counselor that you work on your emotions to be quiet enough until they are done. And you must be calm enough to ask them, are you done? You must ask them that, are you done? Because sometimes they might be quiet, not because they are done, but because they're trying to put their thoughts together. So in this process of putting their thoughts together, they say, okay, let me go number one, do this, number two, do that, the message you are sending to the counselee or the person you're counseling is that their thoughts and their words does not matter. So you think you are trying to solve a problem, but what you are actually telling them is that their thoughts and their words does not matter. That's the message they're receiving. So you must be careful as a counselor. Be quiet enough. The fundamental skill every counselor must learn is the art of listening. Listening till the end. And you ask them, are you done? They say they are not done. Be patient with them. For them to put their thoughts together and speak to you, especially children, especially teenagers. I'm gonna dive into that as we go on. But we must understand that we must be patient enough. We must be quiet enough so that they can speak to us. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? So now this is it. There's a difference between counseling and therapeutic coaching. I think I should hit that here. There's a difference between counseling and therapeutic coaching. Now, what's the difference? Now, in counseling, take note of this. Counseling is fundamentally about bringing comfort to the counselee, while therapeutic coaching is about giving the counselee an action plan. Do you get what I'm saying? So the therapeutic coaching is about giving the counselee an action plan, Why for counseling? It's not first about giving the counselor an action plan. This and this and this and this is what you will do to overcome this. No, it's about bringing comfort. Because a lot of people think they are counseling, but actually they are coaching. Is somebody with me? A lot of things people do in the name of counseling is actually coaching, not counseling. Because in counseling, the first thing you're trying to do is not giving them an action plan on what to do to overcome what they're going through. No, the first thing is to listen to them enough and to see how to give them succor and solace, comfort. That's your first responsibility. It's not about changing their lives. It's not about motivating them, aspire to Maguire to require. No, that's not your job. Your job is to give comfort. That's your job. Does that make sense? You must understand that your primary assignment as a counselor is not to come and tell them the 5 steps to overcome this. No. Let them receive comfort. That's why you listen to them. You smile and tell them, oh, is that all? You keep listening. What you are trying to do is give them comfort. And when you're looking at them, you say, you're showing your empathy through your gestures and all that, making them see that you accept them. That is the fundamental thing. So if you're a counselor, be a counselor. There's a time that the counselor also tries to coach, but please, fundamentally, counseling is not about coaching. Counseling is about comforting. So another thing you should know about counseling is that when the people have received the comfort, they can be inspired to want to take steps to change. They might be inspired to want to take steps to transform their lives. But until they get to that point, you don't push them. That's why you're a counselor. Because most times what we have is coaches, not counselors. I don't know if you remember situations where you thought you were counseling somebody, but you were actually coaching the person. Let me raise up my hand. How many of you remember times you think I just counseled that boy today? But what you were doing actually was not actually counseling, it was just coaching. And actually, you must, when it's counseling, let it be counseling. You comfort them well enough until they get to the point to say, okay, I want to make a change. Then you can now come in to coach them into it. But you should know that fundamentally your job is to counsel, not coach. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? And I want you to take note of the next thing I want to say here, that counseling an adult, remember you're here, the focus of this training is I'm teaching you on how to counsel teenagers and preteens and children. So I'm going to always be emphasizing on that. This curriculum is for counseling in general, professional counseling in general, but fundamentally, I'm going to be referring back to that because that is why we are here. That's why we are here. So it's important we should understand 2 things. Number one, take note of this. Children can have the same mental and emotional issues as adults. Oh God, when the course lecturer said this during our training, it really hit me. Children and teenagers can have the same mental and emotional issues as adults. You know why it's important for you as a counselor for teens and children to be aware of this fact is because most times, especially in Africa, we downplay on the emotions and the mental well-being of our children. Now what do they stress about? Why are you acting this way? You say you're having mental issues. Do you know what I am doing? See, I know you may have more responsibility as an adult more than children. We must understand this fundamentally, that children have the same emotional and mental issues as adults. So they need as much mental and emotional care as adults. Now, this is the next thing I want you to take note of is and it is this: there's a difference between children and teenagers counseling and adult counseling. I want you to know this. I know that this is simple, but most people don't understand this. There's a difference between counseling children and teenagers and counseling adults. though the purpose is the same. The agenda for counseling, whether it's an adult, an old woman, a child, is the same. Now, in counseling children and teenagers, you must understand that the agenda is same, but the method you use is different. Now, the question now is, what is the fundamental agenda of a counselor, especially for children and teenagers? Now, write this down and make this a very important part of your let's say your life. It's important to understand that the fundamental assignment of a counselor is helping the child to become more mentally and emotionally healthy, so they can become helping the child to become more mentally and emotionally stable, to become happier and healthier adults. So this is the assignment of a counselor, helping the child to become more mentally and emotionally stable, to become happier and healthier adults. Helping the child or helping children to become more mentally and emotionally stable, to become happier and healthier adults. I'd like to repeat that again. One of the fundamental assignments of a counselor is helping children to become more mentally and emotionally stable, so they can become happier and healthier adults. Wherever way you rephrase it, take note of mental and emotional stability and happier and healthier adults. So that's the goal. So when you go to those schools, you are giving counseling, your goal is for mental and emotional stability, so that these children can grow up to become happier and healthier adults. Though as Christians we believe in the dimension of the spirit, so we also come wanting them to grow in their work with the Lord. But you must understand that as a professional counselor, your assignment fundamentally is to make sure these children grow, or these children become more mentally and emotionally stable, so they can become happier and healthier adult. And I like the fact that it coincides with what the Bible says, that when you train up a child when he's young, when he's old, he will not depart from it. In other words, what you do to the child will be seen in the man. What you do in the child will be seen in the woman. And that's what this is about. You help the child to be more stable emotionally and mentally, so that in the future they can become happier and healthier adult. Does this make sense? Does this make sense? Talk back to me. Does this make sense? So quickly, we want to look at counseling relationships. We want to look at counseling relationships, and it's important we understand that the difference between bad counseling sessions and good counseling sessions is the relationship between the counselor and the person being counseled, or the counselee. I would like to say that again. That is what I just said. Looks really it doesn't really look deep, but it's very, very important. Most times the difference between a good counseling session and a bad counseling session is is the relationship between the counselor and the counselee. So as a counselor, one of the fundamental things you must do is to seek to have a good relationship with your counselee. You know, one thing about counselors that you must understand, that we overrate our knowledge. I know what to say. See, sister, it's not about what you have to say. Do you get what I'm saying? That's what the fundamental thing I told you is that you learn the art of listening and be calm. Master your emotions until they are done. And also another thing now you must get is that your relationship with the counselee is more important than even the steps or the knowledge you have. Because I think it was Zig Ziglar that said, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So your fundamental assignment, even when you step to those schools to meet those children, you're not trying to say, oh, so you were sexually abused. Let me tell you something. No. You want to build solid relationship with those children. You want to build solid relationship with them. That is your fundamental assignment. That's why we said in Y.A.P.I that you're going to pick a school. Just one school. If you have a team of about 7, it is one school. But if you have about a team of about 14, you cannot pick 2 schools. But if it's 7 persons, one school. And for 1 year, you keep going back for monthly meetings. And why are we saying, okay, one school? Because so you can build relationship with these children over time. Because most times, the success of your counseling session is fundamentally tied to your relationship with the counselee. Somebody catching me? The success of your counseling session most times is fundamentally tied to your relationship with the counselee. So you must make priority your relationship with the person you are counseling first before you talk about what you have to offer to them. Does this make sense? So now let's look at some things that can help you build better counseling relationships with your counselee, especially children and teenagers. Now take note of this. The counseling process is about exploring the client's values and beliefs. Write this down. The counseling process is about exploring the client's values and beliefs. So with that taken, we must understand in the counseling relationship, the counselor does not impose his beliefs and values on the client or the counselee. You don't come and impose your beliefs and say, I think this is how life should be. No. The first thing you are doing is to explore the beliefs of the person, the beliefs, the values of the person. And the reason why you need to know this is that you are not a Christian counselor. You are a kingdom counselor. Some people didn't catch that. You are not a Christian counselor. You are a kingdom counselor. And the difference between a Christian counselor and a kingdom counselor, one is relevant only to Christians. One is relevant to anybody walking the face of this earth. Whether you are an atheist, you are a Muslim, you are a Gnostic, whatever who you are, they are relevant to you. Why for a Christian counselor is just relevant to people in church. Now, for you to be a kingdom counselor, you must understand that you are like a CIA agent. You're not coming to say, oh, they must know me like the normal police we know who will just wear uniforms. You are coming with a covert process. So the first thing is that you must meet the people where they are, explore their beliefs and their values. You can only start sharing yours if they say, okay, I want to hear you talk to me. And when you are talking to them, listen, you are talking to them with a suggestive approach, not whatever is dogmatic, not in a sense that you are enforcing and saying, oh, my own is right, you are wrong. No, you are suggesting to them, I think if you do this like this, because one of the goals of counseling is to make the counselee make decisions independently. Because your counseling session is not supposed to last forever. So this is what counselors do. They make their counselee to become dependent on them. So instead of the counselee or the person being counseled to grow, they now begin to have the counselor as their crutch. No, that's not the goal. You have to make them make decisions independently, and that's why when you're speaking with them, you will speak your ideas you're sharing with them should come as suggestions. You come like ideas and ask them, what do you think about what I just said? You make them feel and make them know that the decision is theirs. If you have this approach, you can counsel a Muslim man. You can counsel an atheist. You can counsel a Gnostic. You can counsel anybody. Because you're not trying to come and impose, I'm a Christian. The Bible says no. You meet them where they are. Listen, when they say they want to hear your views, you can bring your views to them. I think this, and one thing about a counselor too, a counselor must be vast so that you can give them different approaches. You can use this approach, you can use that approach, you can use this approach, like 3 approaches you've given to the person, and you tell them, make your choice. With that, you are making them build a certain level of independence that can help them take decisions on their own. So when your counseling journey is over, they don't become weak. Because while you were with them, you didn't build them to be dependent on you. So they just continue doing because you have built a system that their brains work also. And also it also builds their confidence and their esteem. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? So please counsel people and don't make them a crutch, or don't let them make you a crutch. No, don't let them make you a crutch. That's not your job, because you're not counseling them for life. Your counseling will start in a day, it will end in a day. So what happens after? It is the way you treat those people in the process. Does that make sense? So don't impose your beliefs, don't impose your stuff on them. Just explore that. I beg you guys, you are a counselor. Don't make them make you, your counseling to make you a crutch. You are not Jesus. So even Jesus doesn't want to be our crutch. He wants to be our savior. He wants a relationship with us. You know, the Bible says, come, let's reason together. God is not trying to turn off my brain. He wants us to reason together, and that's counseling. Let's put our heads together and come up with stuff that work. Now, let's go to the code and ethics. Some of the code. Let's touch some of the codes. The code of ethics and the practice of a professional counselor. Now, let's look at the code. Let's talk about some of them. Some of the codes of ethics and practices of professional counselors. So now, number one is the no consent information. Type that out. The no consent information. No consent information. No consent information. Please, this is it. As a professional counselor, you don't have the right to share the information of your counseling session with another person without the permission of the counselee. You don't have that right. You can't go and say, oh, hey, let me tell you what happened. You say, you know that girl, Destiny have had 4 abortions. You don't have that right. You don't have that right. Don't do that. That is wrong. It's not part of the ethics. It's not a part of the code of conduct of being a counselor. A counselor must be one who have the capacity to keep things in. You get what I'm trying to say? Keep this in. You know, if you're going to share it with anybody, you know, you can seek for the consent of the person that is counseling you. Now, this is it. Now, for counselors, so that they can have a place to pour out their heart also. How do you pour out your heart when you have received from everybody prayers? And number 2, always tell people that because you yourself, you are human, you might need help. So you are open to speaking to your mentor also. And please don't get yourself a mentor that you will tell something to. The next thing is on the altar preaching. Yesterday, they told you that Chinere was doing this and that. No, you must speak to someone who has the capacity to keep things in. It's important you know this, because as one who have been privileged to counsel people over the years, one thing I've seen that people have complained about is them going to their pastor or somebody in church, and after telling them, oh, this is what I'm going through, the next thing the pastor comes out on a Sunday to say, oh, this girl cannot be in the choir anymore, she did this and that. No, that's not how it works. The only reason you can speak to someone else, number one, is this. You know, you tell your counselor, I'm a human too. I also need to unburden some of these things and get counsel from my higher authority. So I speak to my mentor. Is that okay with you? If they say no, it's not okay with them, then it's fine. I can't really be able to help you, but I have to too, because as I'm pouring to you, someone has to pour to me. That's number one. Number 2 is that you are permitted to disclose the information you get from your counseling session if the information will help to prevent a fatal situation from happening to the counselee or yourself. If it's a threatening situation that might lead to that might cost the life of your counselee or may cost your own life, you have the right as a counselor to reveal the information. Now, listen, you get the balance. You cannot just reveal what you've gotten from a counseling session to people around you. But there are times where you should reveal if it is something that can lead to a fatal situation, if it's something that can lead to the loss of life of your counselee, or at least or something threatening your own life, you have the right to release that information to appropriate people, not to gossips, to appropriate people who can lend a helping hand. It's like somebody comes to you and say, tomorrow I'm taking poison, I'm dying. I get what I'm saying? And you say, oh, I can't disclose it. I am a counselor. No. That's a fatal situation. You should find a way who can speak to him, who is the matured person that I can speak to, that we can collaborate to help this person. Or somebody tells you that, this counseling session, that now that I've told you what I'm going through, I'm going to send, I can't let you leave, I'm going to attack you. You know that the counselee is trying to, is threatening you, is trying to attack you or sexually harass you, because that happens sometimes between a female counselor and a male counselee. It happens. Sexual harassment because at that point you have the right to release that information and say, I'm having this counseling session, this person is going through this and he's trying to sexually harass me. So it's important that you understand that there are some points that you've got to share the information of the counseling out to people who can help, not to gossips. Does this make sense? Does this make sense? If it does, type in the chat room. It does make sense. So that's the fundamental code of conduct. We keep quiet about what people are going through. We keep quiet about what people are going through. We don't try to we don't just start telling people, because a lot of times that has destroyed people's self-esteem, that have destroyed people's capacity to trust people. So we must fundamentally try to conceal what people tells us, except to our appropriate authorities, the mentors that can help give us clarity, that can help give us comfort if it is too burdensome. So now let's quickly talk about, as we will begin to wrap up in another few minutes, let's talk about how to foster a better relationship between the counselee or client and the counselor. How to foster a better relationship between the counselee or the client and the counselor. Please always remember, like I said, that the difference between a good counseling session and a bad counseling session most times is tied to the relationship between the counselor and the counselee or client. So it's important that as a counselor, because you know that the counseling session is dependent on your relationship with your counselee, fundamentally, you must work to foster a better relationship. And I've told you that you need to observe the code of conduct. You need to also make sure you don't impose your beliefs on them. And I want to show you other things you must do to foster a better relationship. And number one, you must create a safe and confidential environment. You must create a safe and confidential environment. You must create a safe and confidential environment. As a counselor, you must do that. The environment you're using for your counseling must be an environment that is safe for them to speak to you and it's confidential. Now, here is the balance. Now, for male counselors, you say, what I want to tell you is very confidential. You now take a lady to your house and you say, let us just do counseling. It is not advised. It is not advised. I don't advise that. I don't encourage that. I discourage that. Please, especially when it is counseling between you and the opposite sex, don't do that. And when you are counseling, please always note that there should be somebody around. So if you are doing the counseling in the parlor or in the sitting room, somebody should be in the room. Because listen, let me use this in Nigeria parlance. Not everybody heard correct. You understand? Not everybody heard correct. I'm telling you the truth. So you can't say, I want to counsel this guy. You can be sexually harassed as a lady. And also, I encourage ladies that and as a lady, probably if you're having counseling with a guy, please, the person that is your assistant, like the person that is around with you, should be a guy too. should be a guy too. You get what I'm saying? Don't say, okay, I'm going to go with my female friend. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. We should be a guy too. And please, it should be an environment that's not as, though confidential, should not be enclosed. Please take note, though confidential, should not be enclosed. So please take note of that. It should be an environment that we can still see people around and all that, but make sure it's confidential. The reason why it's confidential is that when people see that it's just both of you, they can express themselves better. I encourage males to counsel males. I encourage females to counsel females. Sometimes you may have to just do a quick counseling with an opposite sex, or a quick counseling, with an opposite sex, but please try to make referrals. That's why you belong to this platform. There are a lot of ladies here, there are a lot of guys here. So if you have a guy, because most times a guy will like a girl, we create problems and say he's going this, so to just become closer to the girl. Sometimes a girl will like a guy, create problems in her life just to get. So there are a lot of things. There are a lot of side effects to this counseling also. So that's why I'm just touching on this. So when you start off the counseling, know where she is as a male counselor and refer her to a female counselor to continue from there. Fundamentally, I think it's better that way. If you have a question on that, you can ask me before we leave today. So first, I said safe and confidential environment. Number two, you must show empathy and understanding and respect. You must show empathy, understanding, and respect. You must show empathy. As they are speaking with you, you cannot be typing on your phone. They're speaking with you, you're talking to another person, they come, they talk to me. No, children are very sensitive. Teenagers are very sensitive. When they see that you're not giving them the attention, they will begin to shut down. So it is important you understand that when you are talking or you're having a counseling session, especially with a teenager or a child, pay attention to them. Because what you are communicating to them is that I value you, I love you. I love you. I value you. And remember, like I said, I'm referring back that the difference between a good counseling session and a bad counseling session is fundamentally tied to your relationship with your counselee. So imagine you paying attention to your counselee. You are telling them, I love you. I value you. They will see you as someone that should respond in the same manner too. So it will help to build a better relationship with your counselee. So please, if you know you are busy, probably you should pause the counseling. Deal with your schedule first. So when you are done with your schedule, come back and pay absolute attention to the pretty girl or the wonderful boy that you are speaking with. Please don't take them for granted. Don't say na small pikin, because we do that in Nigeria. That's in Nigeria parlance. Don't say na small pikin. No, don't do that. Don't say, oh, it's just young. No, pay absolute attention. Remember, I've told you in this counseling that children and teenagers experience the same mental and emotional issues as adults. So pay them equal attention as you deal with the issues they are going through. So it's important we show them empathy, understanding, and respect. You're not respecting the person you are not paying attention to. Please show them respect. And I think a lot of teachers do this. Teachers in school, the child is trying to talk to you. You are the way you are looking at the child, the way you are responding, your body language is not showing that you are accommodating. That is why a lot of girls being sexually abused do not want to talk to the authorities. Let me share you a story. I used to teach in a school during my IT days. You know, I got employed in the school as a part-time teacher. So I come to school twice in a week because I was also going to School of Ministry. So when I get 2 off days from School of Ministry, so I come to the school. So one day I came to the school and the children just came to me that, Uncle, I want to tell you something. I was like, okay, what do you want to tell me? And I walked and they said, come, I'll tell you in your ear. So I went to their class. They started telling me that this person was touching this person's pants in the restroom. This one was looking at this person's trousers, was touching their trousers, their pants, and all. They were telling me, and there are teachers who work there 5 days in a week, Monday to Friday. They didn't tell them. They said they will not tell anybody. We want to tell you. Why? Because children knows when you value them. They just know. They know when you value them. They know when when you are a safe space. They know. So please show them empathy, understanding, and respect. On that thing is this. Please, when you're talking to your client or your or the counselee, please watch your tone of voice. I think a lot of counselors do this, they talk as if they are angry. Don't be say, listen, I have to say, professionally, it is wrong for a counselor to be emotional. You can't be emotional. It's like being a doctor. They give you surgery to do. You are crying. Oh, this is surgery. You can't be. That's why if I was to be a doctor and my wife is in labor, they won't allow me to take charge of my wife. Why? Because they don't want emotions to be involved. You make more mistakes when you're emotional. So the counselor must keep his cool. Your counselor, I think probably in this series, for those who are part of us, I think in this series I might still teach emotional intelligence, because you need that. You must master your emotions. You can't just come there and be angry. So they did that to you. They did that to you. Why would they do that to you? Or you're talking to a person. So why did you do that? You can't be doing all that. That's carelessness. You can't do that. You must maintain composure. You must maintain composure so that your tone of voice, because listen, what the counselee is saying is most times is 30% of the real issues at the beginning. 30%. But when they see the way you are responding to what they are saying, they want to dig deeper and bring out other issues. So, but when you receive those things with uncultured emotions, it will shut them down. It will shut them down. So you must be careful of that. You must master the emotions so that your tone of voice must be calm and cool. You get what I'm trying to say? Please, you can't be projecting like this in counseling the way I'm doing. You can't do that. You can't do that. That's the way I'm talking to you now, because I'm teaching and facilitating a class. You can't do that. In counseling, you have to be calm, put yourself together, and talk to the people. Does that make sense? So you watch your tone of voice and make sure you apply various counseling techniques. Don't just go one counseling technique and say, oh, I'm going to apply these ones because now listen, you can have two persons who were sexually abused, and the counseling techniques you're going to use for both will be different. Because there are a lot of factors added to it. It's not just about the situation. First, it's also our response and our approach is tied also to the environment these people grew up in, to the personality types of these people, and to other and to the experiences of these people. So you can't say, oh, this one was sexually abused and I told her ABC and I did EFGH for this person, I'm going to do this for this person also. No. When you are in a counseling session, come with on a very plain slate, a white slate, and listen to the person. Try to know their situation, the kind of background they are coming from, the kind of experiences they've had, their personality type. So with that, and with the help of the Holy Spirit, we can be able to know the kind of counseling technique you will use for the person that will work. Let me wrap up here. I want to talk about the therapeutic relationship with children and adolescents. So when you are talking to children, now I've told you what to do in counseling: safe and confidential environment, empathy, understanding and respect, tone of voice, and counseling techniques. This does not just as I told you, you are going through a professional counseling training. But I told you initially that I'm always going to bring you back to our focus, which is teenagers and preteens and children. So now I've told you the fundamentals. Safe. This one works for all, whether children, teenagers, adults. Safe and confidential environment, empathy, understanding and respect, tone of voice, counseling techniques. Now I want to talk about specifically for children, because we are going out for teenagers and children. Now, these are how to build therapeutic relationship with them, to build a good therapeutic relationship with them. Number one, when they are there to speak with you, number one thing you must do, you must let them know that this is a safe environment. Listen, it's one thing, like we said, to have a safe environment. It's in that thing to reassure them that young girl, this is a very safe environment. And what you are actually telling them is that this conversation you are saying stays with me and me alone. Stays with me and me. Assure them that. Assure them it's a safe environment. Assure them that you are a safe haven for them. You must assure them. Before they even start talking to you, tell them, calm down, calm down. I want you to know that you are safe with me. Everything you're saying, because a lot of them came from an environment where they were not valued, where their opinions, what they have to say, how they felt was not valued. So when they come to you and the first thing you greet them with is calm down, you are safe with to listen to you, and everything you're telling me stays between both of us. When you give them that kind of approach, it's you greeting them with "I love you." Yeah, I'm loved in this atmosphere, and I'm valued. So that's the first thing you must do. That's the first thing you must do. You must let them know that this is a safe and this is it's a safe environment, and the conversation stays between both of you. And another thing you must do, you must be aware of their mistrust issues. You must be aware of their mistrust issues. What do I mean? A lot of children and teenagers in the past have told people about their secret and they used it against them. They told elders in church, pastors, and they used it against them. So a lot of them already have this mistrust. So even when we are talking to these children during our campaign, we must, in our manual, we will deal with the issue of mistrust, telling them that I know you might have spoken to somebody or you've said something to somebody at one time and the person used it against you. I want you to know that you are safe here. So what I mean by the second point is that you must highlight their mistrust issue. So when they see that you're already highlighting the issue, they feel okay. I think this person understands what I'm going through. So I understand. You might have told somebody about what you're going through right now. You've told somebody something at the time and they used it against you. Don't worry. What you are telling me is safe with me, and I'm here to help you. I am my team. We are here to help you. Please, as I wrap up today to continue tomorrow, I want you to always, when you're talking to them, you say, I am my team. I am my team. Because since we are visiting the school every month for a year, every month, except during the exam period, so probably like twice or thrice in a term. Now, you must know that there may be times where you are not able to make it. Maybe because something just happened at your place of work, or something happened, you could not make it. Please don't interrupt the child's process by always putting yourself at the front. Tell them, I am my team. I am my team. I am my team. So that the same trust they have in you, they can also have it in your team. So when you cannot make the outreach on that particular month, and your team member goes to her and says, "Oh, Benedicta, Sharon told me about what you've been going through. You are in phase 4 of your therapeutic healing." She will be open also, because you have always put I am my team forward. So she believes that the way you act towards her, so your team, we act towards her or him. So that's where we stop for tonight.